Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Juilliard Jazz Orchestra playing big band classics of the mid-late 1920s up into the 1930s. And we began with the famous I Got Rhythm, written by George and Ira Gershwin, but arranged by one of the absolute giants of the swing era. In fact, he's more than a giant of the swing era. He's a man who helped figure it out 10 years before the rest of America knew that there was going to be a big band era. His name was Don Redman. Born in West Virginia, became musical director of the Fletcher Henderson Band early on, and later on went out on his own as a band leader. And that was the kind of arrangement with which they used to open a show, let's say at the Apollo Theater, with a whole bunch of the great soloists in the band playing, and get to meet them, like meet the family kind of thing. And I'd like to introduce the soloists. We'll, of course, mention everyone's name later. We heard Nate Jones on the trombone, Ian Munoz on the alto saxophone, James Sarno on the trumpet, Boyce Griffin on the clarinet, Gifton Jellin on the trumpet, and our bassist, Phil Norris. Now we're going to continue with another piece by Don Redman, but this is slightly earlier. This is back when he was a member of the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra, and it's called The Stampede. And the record, when it came out, became very famous, not only for the trumpet solo by Joe Smith, but for the tenor saxophone solo that was originally played by Coleman Hawkins that, believe it or not, Roy Eldridge memorized on the trumpet. It was kind of a legendary record, and now we're going to play it in our own way. That was The Stampede, again arranged by the great Don Redman, and we heard, you have to forgive me for holding a piece of paper here, but we have so many soloists in the band. Summer Camargo on the trumpet, Boyce again on the tenor saxophone, and some of the other wonderful players in the band. As we continue, we're going to listen to a theme song of Don Redman's. And again, I'm not going to give a speech about who Don Redman was, but you might want to look him up because he's really, along with Fletcher Henderson and Benny Carter and a few other people, one of the real founding fathers of the whole big band idiom. This was his theme song. It was called Chant of the Weed. Yes, that's right, Chant of the Weed. And it has a lot of whole tone harmony and mysterioso. And you're going to hear here from Kevin Oliver on the alto sax, but we're going to begin with Aaron Matson on the guitar. How about that? Kevin Oliver on the alto saxophone, Aaron Matson on the guitar. Now we're going to go to a different avenue of music. By far the most popular band leader of the 1920s was Paul Whiteman. And Paul Whiteman came from a musical background. His father had been the superintendent of schools in Denver, Colorado. Paul Whiteman played the violin. He had Bix Beiderbecke and Frankie Trumbauer in his band. A fascinating figure. And among his arrangers, he had a very, very talented man by the name of Bill Challis. And if you know the name Gil Evans in jazz orchestration, you might think of someone like Bill Challis as the first Gil Evans, or maybe Gil Evans was the second Bill Challis. Or maybe they're both just great. But anyway, we're going to do a tune that he arranged for Paul Whiteman called Tain't So, Honey Tain't So, and I'd like to introduce our vocalist here, Shabnam Abedi, who's going to sing this. And by the way, the vocal on the original recording was sung by a really unknown singer, Bing Crosby, sang the original on this. Anyway, Tain't So, Honey Tain't So, but we begin with a rhapsodic introduction by Esteban Castro.
You should come to Arkansas, meet a friend of mine, old Aunt Phoebe Law. She's known to everyone 4 miles around. She will help you when friends forsake you and troubles bear you down. For those who come her way are blessed when they hear her say, "Tain't so, honey, tain't so." Spoke to the Lord and the Lord said, "No, tain't so."
Tain't So, Honey Tain't So, and that was really, 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 really wonderful. We're going to go back now to Don Redman once again, and this is about the best-known song that he ever wrote. His peers, Duke Ellington, Fats Waller, and others had many song hits back in the day. But Don Redman, really, this was his number one piece. It's called Gee Baby, Ain't I Good to You? But I forgot to mention on the previous tune, we heard from James Sarno on the trumpet, and of course that lovely piano introduction by Esteban Castro, Nathan C. on the baritone sax, and some of the other wonderful players in the band. Now, getting back to Gee Baby, Ain't I Good to You? This is a feature for Kevin Oliver on the alto saxophone, a little bit of Summer Camargo on the trumpet, and but again, vocalist by Shabnan Abedi. Well, we have not only one wonderful vocalist, but I should mention Josh Lawrence on the trumpet. Josh Lawrence on the trumpet and Summer Camargo, along with Kevin Oliver on that last tune. Now, we're going to get in our time capsule right now and kind of zoom ahead. We've been listening to music from the early 30s, late 20s, right in that period. And now we're going to jump ahead to the swing era and to 1938, which was a great year, and another wonderful arranger. We've talked about Bill Challis, we've talked about Don Redman, and now we're going to talk about Eddie Durham. And Eddie Durham was a wonderful musician from Texas who was the, I guess what you'd call the architect of the Count Basie sound. And he wrote this wonderful blues original called Sent for You Yesterday and Here You Come Today. And to take the place of Mr. 5x5, Jimmy Rushing, we're going to have Mar Vilasica sing the vocal on here. And you'll also hear some wonderful solos from the band also, which we'll talk about afterwards. But we start with the Count Basie rhythm section style in their own style. And here we go. Well, to conclude this, and I have to say, you know, it's funny, most of this music was written for dancing, and in the same way that some of Stravinsky's music is written for dancing, and a lot of other music is written for dancing. So I hope that this performance has made everybody want to get out there, and as Duke Ellington used to say, satisfy your Terpsichorean urge. You can go and look that one up. But we're going to conclude with a piece that Eddie Durham wrote for the Count Basie Band same year, 1938, the same year that they played a famous Battle of the Band with Chick Webb's band at the Savoy Ballroom. And this was undoubtedly one of the pieces that kicked off that great night. It was originally a feature for the great tenor saxophonist Lester Young, but we're going to open it up and hear from some of the other members of the band. This is Every Tub. That was Every Tub, and I'd like to acknowledge all the musicians in the band because regardless of solos or not, the success of any ensemble is based on every single player in it, solo or no solo. In our in our saxophone section, Kevin Oliver, maybe just want to wave to, oh, there we go, okay, that's nice. Ian Munoz, Boyce Griffin, Willie Morris, and Nathan C. In our trumpet section, Josh Lawrence, Gifton Jellin, Summer Camargo, and James Sarno. Our trombone section, Jassim Paredes, playing lead trombone, Nate Jones, and Eli Makagi. And you've met our two vocalists. I'll just mention their names, Shabna Mabedi and Mar Villasika. And in the rhythm section, Aaron Matson on the guitar, Esteban Castro on the piano, Quarantine Lahir on the bass, also Philip Norris on the bass and the tuba, and we have two drummers, Matthew Lee, and the most recent one you heard was Zach Edelman. So thank you very much. This has been a wonderful opportunity, and it's been my pleasure and honor to be able to conduct the Juilliard Jazz Orchestra. Thank you.